Playboy, you made that beat.
All right, back at it again. Mike Daniel of Alamo City All Stars, supporting Super Sports Media.
With his boy E. Tally, I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat today. I got the captain driving the ship. Go ahead, coach.
This is Koty Cowgill, head basketball coach at Brennan High School.
Can I
Hey,
say something
Coach.
real quick? Can I say something real quick, Mike? Okay, you were right.
Yes.
Coach, for years I've been messing your last name up, and I want to give Mike props on the air. I've been screwing it up, and I hear how you pronounced it, and I will not mess that up anymore. I apologize about that too.
It's been probably 25 years since I've corrected somebody on the pronunciation of my name. Just whatever is comfortable for you, we're good.
No, but again, I literally argued Mike down. We were eating lunch at the house one day, just hanging out. And I was arguing, like, I'm standing my ground, like, no, bro, you wrong, man. I've been knowing this guy since da-da-da-da. So I apologize, Mike. Again, when I'm wrong on something, I like to give people props about, hey, you got it right. So, sorry. That's all I want to say.
No worries.
Fair enough. Well, then I'm gonna get on you about spelling his first name wrong. It's Koty, just so you know. But we're gonna leave that alone.
I saw that on there too. I wasn't gonna correct that either. We're good.
I did spell it correctly.
Here you go. Now, bro. Are you really going to argue both of us?
Is that spelled correctly?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I sent it. I thought I corrected because I saw I did spell it with a C, and I was like, oh no, he's supposed to be a K.
You got the K right, so you're not listening. I said it's Koty, not Kody.
That's just okay. Oh, I just got it all wrong today. Then I'm just messing up. I'm just messing up. Got it.
Hey, but the meeting's recording, so we're good. You got that right, so we all right.
That's Roger that.
Hey, so Coach, first and foremost, man, you're taking time out of your Sunday. I know you had a weekend. Your boys played this past weekend over at the Gasso, getting ready for this upcoming season. And you took time to allow us to celebrate you as one of the premier coaches here in San Antonio, doing your thing over at Brennan High School. So first and foremost, thank you for making time for us and allowing us to give you flowers and celebrate you and have some fun with you talking basketball today, Coach.
I appreciate you having me on. I've always been a little uncomfortable with the celebrating me part. Like, that's never been a comfortable thing for me. So let's celebrate the kids I coach and what they do and all that. We'll make it about that.
Hey, I can dig that. I got no issues with that at all, Coach. So my first question out the gate, what are your thoughts on the new district realignment and that new playoff structure that y'all are going to see come February and March?
As far as the district realignment, that's something you kind of just wash your hands of every year and not really worry about it. Like, they put you where they put you and you go and play the games on your schedule. I'll be honest, like, when they were going through it, I was hopeful that we would get a smaller district, like we're going from 9 teams to 8 teams. We've been a 9-team district for a while. We were a 10-team district for a while, so when they were going through it, they had kind of posed a number of different options. Some of them had us going down to an 8-team district. Like, I know they took Northeast down to an 8-team district. So I was kind of hopeful that we would get that, just so that we could kind of just across the board, like every team in the district, like the less district games you play, the more you can kind of custom fit your schedule to your team and playing games at your level, just because it's less district games. So you're playing a number of more games against the teams that are beneficial for your group and your team. So didn't happen that way. So we ended up with a 9. So we play the 9. We'll play those 16 district games and play the other ones on our schedule too, and have a good experience with that. As far as the way they kind of redid the playoff format, man, I was preferential to the other way. And maybe as we go here, like, just because that's all I've ever known. The 4 teams in is all playing for one state championship per class. Like it's been that way for a while, not forever. I know there was a time that they were only taking two teams from a district, 3 teams from a district. Like, so they've made some changes and tinkered with it several times over the years, for the format and how they did things. So this will just be another one. I think it makes it a little more difficult kind of to scout and to project ahead, just because it's hard to know like who's going to be big and who's going to be small as we go into the playoffs. So kind of projecting and those things. There's some that are going to be big off, like like Allen's going to be in the big. Like we know we're going to be in the big class no matter what, just based on how we fall in our district and our school size. Like some of those, but there's some others that are gray areas just depending on the teams that make the playoffs. So just kind of trying to figure that piece out and scouting and just kind of getting a handle on what you're looking at as you try to work your way through the playoffs is a little different.
Okay. Well, knowing you, whatever it is, you'll be ready and your boys will be prepared for it.
I hope so. That's always the goal.
So as we're talking about getting ready, what are some of the philosophies and strategies you use to allow yourself to have the accomplishments and the winning records and the players just getting ready to play?
Man, I think we try really hard to build kind of systems that fit our personnel and who we are, whether it's offensive systems, defensive systems, things like that kind of fit our personnel. We've had such a broad scope of teams over the years, like whether it was like when I was coaching the girls, we had, like we started, I think like 6'4", 6'3", 6'2", 6 foot, six, like we were huge. So we kind of had to play. We weren't the fastest team. We weren't amazing athletes or anything like that. Like they were good athletes, but we weren't going to be able to fly around and be all over the court. So we kind of played a system that dictated that. When I switched over and did the boys, like the first year I was here, like we had 5 kids that were 6 foot 6'1" and under. Like that, we started small. It was so small. Like it was smaller than my girls' teams. So we played a different style than we did before. Like it just became all pressing, all fast pace, getting up and down, kind of opening up the floor and being more of an attacking team, more of a 3-point dominant team. Just kind of played a totally different style. Now that's kind of worked through to here just every year. Like we're a little different this year than we were last year. So we'll play a little different, a little different styles, a little different systems, things like that. But I mean, philosophy's always got to be, to me, like your system's got to be great for your best 3 players. Whatever systems you're putting in, they better be great for your best 3 players. If they're not, like scrap the system. So.
And you do a phenomenal job of making sure your guys shine the way they do. Like you do your best to put your guys in the best position. I saw that when you had Big Cam playing with you, and you allowed him to really show that you made him look good. You made him look good with your system you had him in. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Well, that insight, build a system around your best 3 players. Yeah, love that one. My question, we've had this conversation offline before, but player development, how do you approach it, right? And give us a nugget or two as far as techniques and drills that you use when you're building up those individual skills and IQ coaching.
Oh man, I think, like skill development is such a broad scope idea to me. I mean, and it just varies so much from like different phases of your development. Like if we're talking like the like I just got done this morning, I was coaching a 6U basketball game this morning. So like what skill development looks like in that front is totally different than what it looks like later on, and I've been really blessed with mentors and people that have I've been able to lean on kind of over the years to be able to kind of play through those different levels of it. Like that was a real challenge for me, honestly. Like when Cam was really small, when he was young, like I'd been coaching I was coaching at UTSA on the women's side. And I just, honest to God, like I just did not know where to start. Like where do you start? Like you can't dribble the ball, like can't do anything. Like how do you start and get him to be able to be a functioning basketball player? You know what I mean? Like how do we just get the ball rolling? So just I was really blessed to be able to have some mentors at that time that could kind of give me that insight, like that had done it, and be able to help with that. You know, as they got older, I think kind of just leaning into different things with them, and just being able to scaffold them up and teach and kind of grow their ability to understand the game and understand spacing and be able to understand how to play with the ball in their hands and without the ball in their hands. Understand like just different defensive concepts and things like that. Like it's all, no matter what, like anything we do, like it's all like in the classroom, like how you scaffold up, right? Like you grow and you scaffold up your learning and things like that. Like in the game is no different. So talking about development, like it's not a specific thing. Is just finding where your group is developmentally and finding that foundation and finding that baseline, or trying to create a baseline, right? Whether it's just playing off two hands and 2 feet, you know, like just trying to find a foundational baseline that we can all kind of go with and grow with together is big. I mean, I think high school wise, it's various points in your season, you kind of work on different things, you know, like early in the season, we're probably working on more things that will help them be successful in our system. So we'll do more shooting out of, like just the specific movements that they would see on a regular basis within our in the flow of our offenses, like just different movements and different things that they would see, different actions that we would use consistently and they'll see consistently. Also trying to touch on just the various roles of the game, right? Like whether like just the contributor role guys and making sure we're giving a sample size to those guys, how they can be successful and what they're going to need to be successful, and trying to give a little bit of a sample size to the kids that are more primary creators and things like that, where they're getting a sample size of what they need, you know, and kind of working through and giving all those kids an idea just so they know, like, here's how you succeed in these things. And we run a few different systems. So just every day trying to give them a look at how they succeed within that. That's our skill development portion, like during the season, right? Or leading into the season. After the season, it goes more to just growing individuals' games. So we're doing more ball and hand stuff, more read stuff, more raw skill development stuff than we would do as we're trying to prepare to win games and trying to prepare to win a state championship. So I think number one is just finding a baseline for your kids and everybody being on the same page, and then or finding a common ground and then being able to grow it from that point forward, however that looks for your group.
So I'm going to celebrate your coaching staff right now, because you focused on your role player guys and making sure that they're getting work as well and getting their development within everything, you know. And so I know that's not a one-man show. That takes a team. And obviously you've had success with it. So kudos and shout out to the Brennan coaching staff for making sure everybody's getting what they need. So good stuff on that, Coach.
I got to give credit to Ian Ward on that. Like that was something that I hadn't done a great job of earlier in my career, but him, like when I was blessed for him to be able to join me here, like that was one thing that he kind of imparted on me, like making sure that we're giving everybody on the team, like, hey, no team, you're not going to want every guy to be a primary creator. That's not a thing, right? Like, so just kind of like just leaning and pushing to make sure that we're given a sample size of the skill development piece to everybody, so that they're going to be able to grow in their roles and grow in what they do. So been really, like I said at the start, been really blessed to have some great mentors and great people to learn from to kind of help get to a point.
All right, ET, you're up.
All right, since we're talking about roles, what role does strength and conditioning play in your program? How do you incorporate it to help players reach their full potential?
Oh, man, huge role in
Okay.
the program. I mean, we're lifting at least 3 days a week. You know, we're running but especially this time of year, we're hitting a running hard. Like that to me is a huge cornerstone of a program. Like if you're not a well conditioned team, if you're not a physical team, you're not going to be a successful team. Like off top, like those have to be there. Um, I mean, if you're going to break down physically, like you're guaranteed you're going to break down mentally, and we learn that and see that pretty early in our seasons, and we give a great opportunity for our kids every day, every week to grow in that aspect with their physical toughness and their mental toughness through the running portions and the things that we do on that front. As far as the strength and conditioning part, like been blessed with great guys to help organize our weight programs and just see growth in our kids every year. Like right now, Coach Ward does an awesome job with our weight program, and it looks different. Like I'll be honest, it looks different than it's ever looked before, just because it's so it leans so heavily on just just movements, like just different movements and being strong and functionally strong in different movements of the game, and things that are basketball specific, as opposed to like the football workouts where you're going in and it's all power cleans and it's all deep squats and all those things. Like we do some of those things, but we do a lot of multi movement lifts and a lot of different things like that are core related, balance related, shoulder strength related, lower body flexibility and strength related. Just a lot of different movements that he's layered in and given has been awesome.
Well, I like to hear about I love to hear that you guys run a lot, because to me, people don't understand how great of an exercise running is for you, how much of the body it actually works, to where those working your legs, working your upper body too, your core. So to hear that is like, hey man, I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Mike.
Can you describe your approach to building team culture, camaraderie amongst your players? How do you foster an environment that obviously brings out the best in your team each year, Coach?
Man, I think that just having a culture of accountability and ownership is huge. You know what I mean? Like, and all the way down from me all the way down to the managers, like coming in with that ownership of everything that we got to get done in that day, and making sure that we have a pride in our job and we're doing it at the highest level that we can. I think just having that culture of accountability and a culture of communication where we're asking questions, that the kids feel comfortable to ask questions, that they feel comfortable to communicate and help each other, and making that kind of our expectation that those things are going to happen. But they spend so much time together. Like we haven't ever really had a hard time, I wouldn't say, with kids with our groups being connected and being able to lean on each other. I mean, we just, like there's been no surprises. Like once you get to games, like we make our practices to the point where in games, there's not going to be a, wow, I didn't know he could do that situation. Like we see it all, in practice for the good and the bad. So when we get out there, like the kids really, really know each other and know each other's strengths, know each other's weaknesses, kind of know what makes each other tick. And just trying to coach and encourage them to lean on each other and be connected as a group, and just be willing to be what's the word, like vulnerable, right? And it's okay to fail, and it's okay to kind of have your little breakdowns, because you're going to have your brothers there to hold you and to be with you and to help pick you up. So I don't think you ever get kind of total investment from the kids if there's not a vulnerability to the kids, right? Like where they can break down and where they can give everything, because like just like a marriage or anything like that, like if you're actually involved in it, like man, if it doesn't work or if it doesn't go the way you wanted it to, that's devastating stuff. So you have to be willing to kind of open yourself up emotionally to that to kind of achieve what you want to.
That's a phenomenal answer, Dad. I'm going to clip that note. I'm going to play it because, as I've been talking with my club guys and telling them, like, it's beyond follow through. This is about getting you guys ready for high school. High school coaches are going to expect certain things. And to hear you open up the gate with ownership and accountability, golly, that I'm going to let them hear it from somebody else. Like, see, guys, I don't just make this stuff up. I'm trying to, so thank you for that insight, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. When it comes to your incoming guys, as far as your feeder schools that feed into Brennan, what are some of your strategies that you do to make sure you have an eye or who's coming in? Do you go to games, or can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, we've done a number of things over the years. It's a challenge to get out like during our season to see guys. I do go out and watch, especially when our feeder schools play each other. Try to make out to catch those games, just because you're going to be able to knock out two birds with one stone. Going out and watching those is great. We've had years where we've had those groups come and play, like when they play each other, to play on our campus. So they're playing at Brennan. We've done that. I've gone out and done, we'll go out in the springtime, like when, for this part, like you're kind of at the mercy of your class schedule and their athletic periods, right? Like where I can go out during their athletic period and work with them and the kids that are going to be basketball kids. Like we'll go out, like usually we go out every Friday and take that day and work with the eighth graders, and try to get out a couple times and work with the seventh graders, just if our schedules permit, right? Like, and again, like just totally at the mercy of when I have class and when their athletic period is, to make sure those aren't overlapping. We utilize our summer camps. I mean, just calling and talking to our coaches about what they have coming up. It's no rocket science to it, and there's no secrets to it. Like you got to be present to know, but just kind of trying to build those relationships and those things is a big deal. Huge to be able to keep your programs going and being successful.
I can imagine just having to, because you guys are a bigger district, so it's a lot of. How many schools do you guys actually have feeding into your to Brennan?
It's three different schools that feed into
big.
us. We get, I think, 100% of Luna, get half of Bernal, and then we get just a tiny portion of Briscoe, which makes it hard. Like it makes it hard to a degree, like with the Bernals and the Briscoes, to kind of go out and know what you have. Like we know like this kid's supposed to come to us, or they're supposed to go over there, and not wanting to be unethical and try to coerce kids that aren't supposed to come to you if they're like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a respect factor for the other schools that they're supposed to go to, that you're not going over and you're not trying to sway those relationships, but just working with the ones that are supposed to come to you.
Right.
Is a thing. So there's a chat, like end of the year, like at the end of the year, the coaches there at those schools, at the middle schools, they know where the kids are supposed to feed. So when we go over to Bernal, it's going to be like, okay, all Brennan feeder kids, you just stay in the gym. Like Brennan feeder basketball kids going to stay in the gym, and everybody else will go outside and do football. You know what I mean? Like go the same at Briscoe, where you go over there and it's just the Brennan feeder kids going to stay and everybody else goes. So trying to get a handle on them that way and getting to know them, and trying to get the kids with talent that aren't club kids, like in situations where they can develop and grow, and just finding opportunities that are kind of at their developmental levels, like across the board, like, and it just, and sending them to a wide variety of programs, the guys that do a good job. Like I sent kids to Mike before, sent kids to Toro, sent kids to the Next Level Raiders, like just sent kids everywhere, just trying to find who I believe will be a good developmental level for them, to help them max it out and be good.
Okay. Well, Mike,
in your experience, right, what are some of the biggest challenges and obstacles you've had to overcome as a high school basketball coach, and how did you navigate through those challenges?
Man, like I don't know, like to me, every year is gonna have different challenges. Like I don't know that I would say like major challenges, like like there's things that are gonna come up every season that's gonna be a challenge. Is just like one is it something that you can even like do anything about? Like if you coach high school basketball, you're at some point you're gonna deal with parents that feel like their kid should be playing and will go through any measure they can to try to either make that happen or try to get you out if it didn't happen. Like at some point, like any coaches for a long time, you're gonna go through that. I mean, with that stuff, like you're just totally at the mercy of how how supportive your administration is and your athletic administration is to deal with those things. So there's always going to be that. Like there's those. I mean, we've been blessed to have very few of those in my time. But like I said, anybody that does this is going to deal with those things at some point. I mean, there's obviously the easy answer here would be like COVID, like dealing with the COVID year and playing that year. Like there were significant challenges and just how you go through it. Like for us, like during that COVID year, we scrimmaged against, man, who was it? Madison or I can't remember exactly who it was. We scrimmaged. We had our scrimmage game. Found out that one of their kids had COVID during the game. So at that time, like you had to go through, and it was the dumbest thing in the world how they did it. Like you had to go through and track how many minutes your kids were on the court with that kid, and when it hit a certain number, those kids became out. Like they had to go into their COVID protocols, right? Like, and of course, like the kids that hit that number are going to be your kids that play all the time. They're on the court with them all the time. So we ended up like losing. I think we had all five of our starters got hit with it, so they had to go home and they were out for at that point. I believe it was 14 days or something like that. So yeah, for sure, 14 days. So we had to decide, right? Like, are we going to cancel our upcoming games? Like, I think we played Lee that next Friday. Had another one maybe Saturday. Yeah, I think we went to Round Rock on Saturday to play them. And then we had a tournament the following week. And it was like, do we cancel these games because we're going to be without our starting five dudes? Or do we move kids up from JV and play the game and just get better? We ended up playing the games. It started out the year, I think, 0-5 or 0-6, something like that through that time. But I mean, we were really blessed. Like there was a kid that was slotted to play JV for us more than likely that year. Then when we got moved up, like he ended up finding a real role, where he slid in and ended up being a second team all district player that year. Just based on the opportunity, just kids not there. So ended up kind of playing with a little more confidence, probably because there was nobody on that bench looking like he had to look over his shoulder that this kid's going to come and get me. Like we're looking at 5 or 6 kids, 6 or 7 kids on the team, period. So just different opportunities and different things like that. He ended up helping us make the playoffs in a year that we probably should not have made the playoffs. Had to win several games late in that year, and he was a big reason for that. So again, just going back to like the process. Anytime you're dealing with challenges, like to me, it can't be necessarily the wins and the losses of it. It's got to be the processes of it. Like whether it's your actual processes of your offensive and defensive systems, whether it's the processes of like what you need to get better at on the floor to win, whether it's the processes of like your communication skills with parents, with kids, and just kind of building those relationships, communicating in those relationships, and what you need to do to kind of move forward and be improved coming out of it. But it can't necessarily be like just the wins and the losses of those challenges, because to a large part, like the wins and the losses are just a function of who you play. Like whether it's good teams, bad teams, just a matter of who you play, whether you're winning and losing. So make it about your processes and your systems.
Thank you.
All right, we're talking processes. So what's the process that you have to help balance all this you deal with? You deal with work, you deal with the high school basketball aspect, you deal with the kids, and then you deal with outside stuff. How do you balance all that? Because you got a lot going on, Coach.
Yeah, I think it's just having a schedule that works for you, having a consistent schedule, whether it's like here's when I'll carve out time to work out for me today. Like here's like for me, right? Like here's when I carve out time to do the things in my personal life that need to be done, like to make sure that I'm not falling off or coming up short as a father and a husband, making sure that I'm carving out those times where those things are there. And if that means that my kids are around the program, my kids that aren't in the program are around the program more, so we get to be around each other in that capacity. Or my wife coming up and eating dinner, up at Brennan after our practice, and we're eating dinner in the bleachers, just different things where we're trying to make sure that my time management is right, and it's a schedule that kind of makes sense for me personally. I believe that kind of allows you to get more hours out of the day, just if you're not wasting time. So I'll go like every day, I'll go and pick up my 4-year-old, my 6-year-old. I'll pick them up from school during my free period, which is eighth period, last period of the day. So they'll come back up here with me. I'll spend time with them here. Then we'll go, whether it's their soccer practice, whether it's whatever, like just making sure that they're around and I'm getting that FaceTime with them. Just so easy at this time, like especially during the high school season, to lose that time, like lose that FaceTime with your kids and lose that time with your spouse, to make it a manageable, healthy situation where you're not going to burn out.
And so I'll make this a two-part question then, because you kind of elaborated on your family. How much or how important is your family as far as I know how it is? I just want to ask you that because, again, you do put a lot of time in. So when I was out there taking pictures at the YMCA, your little ones was coming through, and guess who came through the line coaching them?
Yeah.
The soccer. You did. And I was like, man, that's why I say you have a lot going on.
Yeah, it's huge. Like I think for multiple levels, I think it's obviously huge. Like for them to be around so that you can be around them as a coach, like that's important. But I also think it's important for them to be around, like for the kids in your program, like to be able to see, like everybody doesn't have a dad at home. Everybody doesn't have a functional like married husband and mom and dad at home, so they're seeing healthy parent relationships for them to be able to see and understand, and just kind of get a good eye on what that looks like. If our goal is to raise great young men that are going to be functioning members of society and great husbands and great fathers at some point, like if they have one at home, that's awesome. We'll try to give them another one. If they don't have one at home, we're going to try to give them a few, and all of our coaches, like their kids are around the program, whether it was Coach Ward with Isaiah and Bella, whether it's Coach Sanchez with his 3 kids, like those kids are around just so, like they get to see like dad's involved with their children and seeing those relationships and seeing what that looks like. I mean, like I said, I think it's huge for all of us to be able to have them around and be around our kids in that capacity or be around our spouses in that capacity. But also, I think really important for the players in your program to be able to see that side too, and kind of understand like how important that it is as a father to be able to make time and make sure that's something that you are always working to do and something that you're serious about and something that no matter what your job is or how much time you're spending on it, making sure that that's something that's happening in your life.
That's awesome, Coach. Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, kudos to you. I don't know Coach Sanchez, but I know you and I know Coach Ward, and I know the family men that you guys are. And so being that role model, being that face, being that vision of what a man is supposed to look like, I can't do anything but give love. Coach Ward was huge for me during the time that me and my dad were kind of at odds ends, and called me constantly, prayed for me. And I'll never forget the day me and my dad finally mended our relationship. He was the first person I called, and we cried and prayed together. And so I can only imagine, what you guys are not just doing for your boys, but for those Brennan boys that's getting to see those relationships. And so I can't do anything but support and just say kudos for that, Coach. Going into my final question, speaking of family, right? You have the privilege, the honor, the joy of coaching your son. How do y'all balance that coach-player relationship slash dad-son relationship? How do you balance it, separate it? And then what kind of joy is that to be able to coach him at this level, at this stage?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. I think for any parent that does it, like there's, like if you're holding them accountable and you have expectations and you've really, really worked in it with them, I think there's challenges that are going to come up, right? Like especially just throughout where if you're really pushing and you're really demanding, it's going to be uncomfortable for the kid, right? Like, and then they're balancing the two sides of it, right? Like just the challenges of the situation that they're in, right? Like trying to overcome struggles in different ways, but also like this is dad that's saying it, like, and trying to get over that hurdle and have them hear a message clear that's not wrapped in kind of that pride, that father son pride, right? Like or let's say like just when we as fathers are on our sons, like I think it hits a little more in the heart than it does if it just comes from an outside source, so there's some of that for sure in there. But man, it's been awesome. Like we've had growth, I would say, every year in our ability to work together and communicate together, and all those things has been great to watch him kind of grow up. Does really well in the school, doing well on the court. So it's been a blessing to have him in the program. I know we'll both miss it when it's gone, coming to an end pretty quick here. So hopefully we can finish it out the right way. I'll have the blessing of having another one coming right behind him though, and get a few years with him, and then some years off, and then I got a couple more coming up the line that are still small. So again, just trying to when we're in there coaching and being about basketball, and when we leaving basketball here when we go, and not banging him on the head like when we get home and talking about how he's missing rotations on defense, or like leaving in the gym and not like just being a dad when we leave, whether talking about music or movies or whatever it is, not talking about practices and games and things like that, like leaving it here. So I think that's a big thing.
Well, good deal. Well, I'm excited to see this senior season. I see you've been in the weight room, and I know he's got that cannon loaded. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what him and his running buddy from the second grade, Kingston, are going to be up to this season for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we can end it the right way for him.
E?
Yeah, I think you guys definitely, again, I've been a fan, and like I told you, I always like to give you your flowers, Coach. I know you don't want them, and I'll give them to you, and I'll give them to your program because, again, every great coach has a successful and great program, and you're one of the programs here in the city that continues to show that and do that. And again, not only by your program, just look at your following. Your following is shows. It shows you're doing a great job. So I say thank you again for giving us this time.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
You're doing a great job over there. Mike's going to close us out with a rapid fire, and I need another fun fact about you too, Coach. I need another fun fact.
Oh man.
Well, no, not yet. Let Mike do his rapid fire.
I got you.
Yeah. But then I need one, and then we'll end the interview right there. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Pizza or calzone?
Oh man, I love pizza. I'll say pizza. Pizza. We do the homemade calzones. Those are amazing, but I go pizza.
Cowboys or Ravens today?
Ravens. Anybody but the Cowboys.
Okay, in that case, Eagles or who do they got today? Eagles or the Saints?
Saints.
You say Eagles or Saints? I go Eagles.
Yeah. Okay.
Sally's excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger or hot dog?
Cheeseburger.
Kobe or LeBron?
Like, are we saying like who's better or who I prefer to watch?
Both.
I think LeBron is better, but Kobe was more enjoyable to watch.
Okay. Okay. Wings question, 2 parts. Buffalo or barbecue?
Barbecue, boneless. I know that's the second one. I'm boneless.
No, it actually wasn't. I was gonna say drums or flats.
Oh, flats.
Okay. Okay. Now, who is your football team? Just for kicks.
I've always liked the Steelers. I don't know why, but I'll say like growing up, like I grew up in Nebraska, so the two that were always on TV were the Chiefs for us, like Chiefs and the Broncos. Like those were our two most proximal teams, so those were always on TV. So kind of grew up with John Elway. Joe Montana playing for the Chiefs was an early memory for me. Chiefs are easy to root for right now, I guess. So that'd be a go into. But always like the Steelers. Bill Cowher,
Okay.
like the Bill
Now,
Cowher Steelers, that was great. Good times.
now, final rapid fire question. Brady or Mahomes?
Say that again, Brady or Mahomes? Oh man, Cam Naga. Like I would say, better raw talent is Mahomes. Better raw talent. Like I think he's kind of Steph Curry-ish, or he just kind of sees the game a little different than anybody's really seen it, before. But he's still got some work to do to be able to say he's better than Brady. 6 is
He's
6.
in route though.
Yeah.
He's in route.
Yeah, he's out, no doubt. No doubt. Got a long time. It'll be interesting to see like if Andy Reid takes it his whole career. Like Reid's been amazing with quarterbacks forever, and guys that haven't had a lot of success past him, and kind of been a great rehab guy for quarterbacks. So like giving Andy Reid the most most talented quarterback in the game today, like that's kind of a cheat code to a degree. So it'll be interesting to see if that pairing splits, if he can continue to kind of build his legacy, or if they're a little bit tied.
Okay. Okay. Now, before you give your Snapple fun fact of the day, will the Celtics repeat this year?
I'm gonna say no. I think the Nuggets can come back and get it done again. I really like the T-Wolves. They were fun to watch. They were pretty young, so it'll be interesting to see if they can take a jump and go. I'll say no. I wasn't a huge Celtics guy.
I think Jaylen Brown and Tatum gonna have a couple of chips on their shoulders this coming season.
Yeah, I'm not like Tatum's super talented. I'm not a huge fan of watching him play. Like he's crazy gifted. Like he's a gifted scorer. I think that he kind of, just I don't know, like the guys that just purely see the game as a scorer only and hard shot shooters and all that. Like those guys sometimes can be a tough watch. I think. I just don't like. I feel like the game's kind of moved on from that space to a degree. It's nice to have that ability, but if you play a lot of the game that way, it's a tough watch for me. So I won't be cheering for the Celtics. I wouldn't be surprised if they won it again. They're a really well put together team. So.
Well, you said Minnesota, definitely fun to watch. OKC, I caught them in the playoffs. I didn't know about SGA until that kid's special.
Yeah, he's really good. Really good. They're definitely. I thought they were definitely a piece away, couple pieces away, maybe from being able to climb the mountain and do that. But maybe the T-Wolves are too. That'll be
gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about
it. Okay, ET, go ahead, ET.
No, it's just a fun fact.
Here's what fun fact.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I've given you this one before. But before I did basketball, so I played basketball in college. In high school, tennis was my best sport. I won in Nebraska. I won state tennis 3 times. Won it in singles twice and doubles once. then started doing like ran a country club in my hometown, like as a tennis instructor there, and did that for a couple years, like as I was finishing up college and things like that. Did that there before I got into coaching college basketball and all that. Not sure if I ever said that before, but tennis
you
was for
didn't.
sure my best sport coming up.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that you don't have that one nowhere on your resume or nothing. I couldn't find that about you. I
Not
found
really
all.
pertinent at this point. No.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. You know, your love of the game or background. You know, you can have that in there. You
I
can throw that in
honestly
there.
though, like I always thought like teaching tennis really helped, like with just skill stuff in basketball, just because it's such a fine motor sport, like just such
Yes.
small little
Footwork.
angles and small little changes and small little like hand movements make such a big difference. So
Right.
anything basketball related is going to be more like bigger movements than that. So it's just, like if you
Right.
can identify like just those small little angles, small little movements, small little tweaks, like it's helpful, I think, in the
Right.
game to be able to kind of see it from that angle. But
Right. Well,
See, Telly, I told you tennis is that sport. You don't ever want to believe me.
I definitely know it helps it helps a lot of kids' footwork.
yeah,
I've
no
seen
doubt,
I've seen a lot of kids that play tennis, and oh my goodness, they have the best feet.
Yeah,
It's
no
like,
doubt.
damn.
No
So,
doubt.
well, hey man, thank you again. Thank you again, man. It really meant a lot for you coming on and just chopping it up with us. And again, man, I always find you very interesting in how you coach the game, you teach the game, you show the game. I just think you're one of the top level coaches in the city to do what you do.
I appreciate
So
that. There's a lot of good ones. City's got a lot of good ones. A lot
again,
of good
I'm
high
not
school coaches.
saying it again. I appreciate you passing it on, and we always do this part right here. You always pass it on, but again, you're one of the ones that deserves some flowers right now, bro. Just take them from me. That's all.
Thank you. Yep,
All
appreciate
right,
you.
all
Yeah.
right.
So
Go
what
ahead,
I'm
Mike.
going to do, Coach, we go way back. Started with officiating, earned your respect on the court there. And now as we're in this club world and this high school world. So for you accepting our invite, allowing us to honor you and your Brennan High School family and foundation, thank you for allowing us to give Brennan High School flowers with the job that you've done, with the boys that you've had, the program that you built. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to celebrate you guys, pay homage to you guys, and then look forward to watching you guys this season. The city, somewhere between now and the next 3 years, state championship is coming to San Antonio. Don't know who it's going to be, but we're rooting for the city. So we know you guys got a hell of a chance, a hell of a senior class, hell of an experience that you guys have behind you to go do it. And so we'll be watching, we'll be cheering. And again, just thank you for your time, Coach. Really appreciate you allowing us this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
Playboy, you made that beat.